There are a few things when you're considering getting divorced that can really slow down your case. You may be sabotaging yourself without even realizing you're doing it. And one of those things, like probably the number one thing, is being completely unprepared to get divorced. You walk in and divorce is like this life preserver, okay? You've been thinking long and hard for years about whether to do this, whether it's right, what will happen to the kids, will I end up scared, alone, and broke? And then you finally make that decision. And it's like divorce is a life preserver. And you're in the deep end and you dive in and you're hanging on, okay? And so you have come so far to make that point that you're just ready to get filed and get going and get started. But you'll do so at your peril. If you don't slow down, it's like one of those things you've heard people say, you go slow to go fast. And so if you can take the time to get prepared and go slow and be deliberate and gather all of that information, your divorce can go so much faster once you're ready to go. Because here's the thing, when you ever first start talking to lawyers, okay, what they're immediately going to do, this is how we're made. I'm a divorce lawyer mom, okay? I'm made, like you start telling me stuff in my office and I'm immediately going to think, show me the papers, show me the proof. I may be saying, oh yeah, thank you for telling me all that. But in my head, what's spinning is, how can I prove this? How can I show this in court? Where's her information? Can she back up what she's saying? Is she telling me the truth? Has she, anything to back up what she wants to get at the end of this whole thing? So if you don't get prepared, you may be sabotaging yourself in ways you don't ever even know. So ladies, let's slow down so that we can go fast and make it easier and make it cheaper in the long run. The number one thing you need to think about when communicating with your attorney, opposing parties, experts, literally whoever in your case, is keep the main thing the main thing. Getting lost in the trees, but for the forest or whatever, could cost you so much money and time. And it's like, look, y'all, all of it, like as a person, as your friend, I really care about all of the details. I want to know everything. So does your best friend, your mama, your college girlfriend, your high school BFF. Okay, we all want to know. But the thing is, as your legal team or the experts or the kid's therapist, getting down into all these little details may make your case take so much longer because you got to chase every rabbit, right? As your lawyer, if you tell me something, I'm charged with understanding and with knowing and with doing something about it. So if you're telling me about all this little stuff instead of just keeping your eye on the settlement that you want, the custody parenting plan that you want, the distribution of assets that you want, we can really get stuck in the mud. And then we're both going to be dirty and nobody's going to like it. Mediation is one way you can speed up your divorce and make it a lot cheaper, because what you're doing is avoiding court. That is if you settle, right? So if you go to mediation and you come up with the deal, at that point, the material terms of your case are done. Like in most states, that's how it works. And then after that, you write up the paperwork. That's a lot faster than saying, oh, mediation failed. And then we got to go to a whole trial, which may mean we need experts and we may need more discovery and deposition. It's like even just talking about it takes forever. And when things take forever in the legal context, they're also going to cost you a really, really, really lot of money. Like more than you can even think of spending. Even if you have a lot of money, you don't want to spend this kind of money on fees. So if you can get to mediation as part of your overall divorce case, like a lot of states require it, a lot of courts in Texas do, for instance, it really can make your entire divorce a lot faster and save you a ton of money and heartache in the process. Hey sis, if you want your divorce to go as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible, you gotta get real fast. And there's a lot of stuff on the internet that's like, you need to come in and you need to have like all of your non-negotiables and this big old list of all the things you're gonna get in like this sort of like warrior mode mentality. And I get that. And you may feel this reaction, this like overreaction even to the way you showed up in your marriage, that you want to finally stand up for yourself and use your voice in the divorce. Okay, and that's like well-intentioned advice and a good perspective. But what you may do is like let the pendulum swing too far in the other direction and you become really stubborn and fixated and not flexible on some of the things that maybe are not as central to your core values and purpose and wants and needs as you thought in the first place. So I would advise you, as you think about getting divorced, try to keep a bit of an open mind about what you're trying to get out of this. Like, get clear on what you want, but like, try not to create like barriers made of stone around yourself, because you may be setting up boundaries that like can't be crossed for this to be able to settle at mediation. And you may find yourself in court where a judge who don't know you or your kids or your husband or your family or nothing decides what happens to literally everything you care about. And probably, I'm guessing, you want some sort of a say in how that goes. So being committed to a spirit of compromise to try to get to a resolution really can make the whole thing faster, easier, and cheaper. So don't get in your own way if you can help it. If you want to avoid the common delays that can come up when you're trying to get divorced, I invite you to consider the My Confident Divorce course. I'm Hannah Henry Bell, a divorce lawyer mom from Austin, Texas, who created this course to help prepare you for a divorce that's faster, easier, and cheaper. That helps you plan and prepare so you don't lose your kids, your money, or sanity in the process. So if you'd like more information, let's get in there and get you signed up. See you in there.